because I may not have the answer, and this is our Chinese um, member. Hypothetical questions. Let me build the background. The Republic of China Army defeated the last royal dynasty, Qin, and took supreme authority of the land from the royal family themselves. This lawful government was then driven off by a rebel government, CCP, to Taiwan. The Republic of China government never capitulated and exists in Taiwan. Can the CCP just take that supreme authority of the royals lawfully that rested on the Republic of China government? To answer the first question, it's yes, in that the claim was done in a form of hostility, meaning a sovereign is perceived by their authority and ability to be a sovereign. It doesn't mean the old sovereign doesn't exist. It's the same principle with the United States of America. The old sovereign still exists, the people. But the sovereign perception, you look at Supreme Court rulings that we post on our explanatory statements that we submit with the passport application. You'll see that the sovereign was broken down by the Supreme Court as being one of the people bound by the Constitution for the United States of America. And there's other definitions, and then there's one located in the District of Columbia. So the Supreme Court broke it down in this nation that two sovereigns exist. I want to be one of the people. So it could be that based on that, you could have the same principal effect of having the sovereignty of the royals still exists. But inherently, they're ousted living outside of the Republic of China, but that doesn't mean they don't exist. And that doesn't mean that you couldn't come under that jurisdiction. Now, we do know that China and the 100-year lease for Taiwan went up and the Brits walked and China came and took that over. Now, what does that mean? We're talking about positions and movements of structures of sovereignty and of governments and of corporations. And the reality is they what's weird is they have this, they do deals. And it's really hard to understand just how literal these deals are. Like when you think wars are taking effect, it's people in the background are talking about, well, we're going to take our chess piece and we're going to come over here and we're going to take this and then we're going to have a debt that's going to be due. And literally the World War I and World War II did not get over until this last 20 years, until the debt of the German government was repaid. And so, yeah, war started 100 years ago, but we were in an active state of war with Germany, and it did not cease. The war, World War II did not cease. World War I did not cease until these last 20 years, and people don't realize that. And so when you're looking at moves of governmental bodies and of controls, it's like it makes you realize the people are the sovereigns, because we are able to allege ourselves to whatever we want to allege ourselves to. But the difference is what is the recognized sovereignty, or what is the recognized international trust protected sovereignty of those people? Do you have an internationally recognized sovereignty of the royals? Like, can they not be killed? Why Taiwan? I mean, I have so many questions, but I can only speak to the United States of America until I study what's going on there. See, the United States corporations, exclusive jurisdictions in the District of Columbia, they have nothing to do with anything outside of the District of Columbia unless the states have titled or conveyed the land. But it was corporate states that conveyed the land. It wasn't the people. So it's all been done in fraud, every bit of it. So we can stand on international treaty laws that protect the people because that corporation doesn't even exist unless the people exist, and the people are the government, the private citizens. The corporation in the United States can't even exist unless the people exist, because their exclusive job and function of government in law was to uphold the God-given unalienable rights of the people. And then people slowly started transitioning to becoming employees and allegiating themselves to the corporation. So it's very difficult for me to make a judgment call on anything that's in China, especially being that China, in my opinion, is the leading framework for the devil and the dragon and what is coming against God directly, and looking straight at how the Chinese government is turning into the hatred for its own people, and what they're doing to oppress and Shanghai. I figured out how to say that. I had lunch with a Chinese guy a week ago. Shanghai. So I'm very interested in helping, but I don't believe anybody that is free of a corporation, I don't believe that corporation has any jurisdiction over them. So you have to ask yourself is, what are your adhesion trusts or contracts that you have with the CCP that allow them to do what they do? There's a form of presumption that they just have power, but I guarantee in your appellate quote unquote equivalent courts, you're going to see that they don't. I guarantee that there's some level of, like, what jurisdiction do they have over Americans? They don't, unless the American capitulates. They just don't. What jurisdiction does any corporation have over anybody? They just don't, unless you capitulate and they gain jurisdiction. And so it's either capitulate or it's already contracted. And so and this is what, because you have a lot of good questions. Can they lawfully change all the laws of the land now that they've taken over the mainland? Just by force, they can. Would it be a lawful law? No. Would it be a legal presumption? Yes. Do the laws of that land still exist? Of course. But are people going to slowly move into an adhesion trust or contract with the CCP? Absolutely. Then what? Then it's absolute. So is there a state citizen seat of government existing but vacated as of now? Yes, in our nation there is. Once the United States breaks up in the near future, mainland China will also take over Taiwan. The United States corporation is going to be broken up. The United States of America will be moved in upon by many foreign nations, quote unquote, creditors. But I believe the people will stand up, and I believe that's when God's coming. Just my opinion. In this situation, does mainland government now become lawful and finally take over the supreme passed down from the last royal dynasty? I don't know how things will play out, but Taiwan seems to be an important key in the mix. What's weird is, like, why do these foreign corporations have to operate outside of the governmental structures they're trying to take control of, like the District of Columbia? Like Australians government, they're literally operating off of an island off the coast of Australia. Like the SEC, which overrules all securities, which is all birth certificates, all naturalization certificates, all foreign, non-resident alien certificates, all Australian birth certificates. Why is that all done within the District of Columbia under the SEC? Why do they need permission from us? If permissions, like look at it this way. If the federal government wants to sue you or get a criminal indictment or get a warrant, they have to prove subject matter jurisdiction. So I guess this would be a great question for China in the form of criminal action. Do they have to prove subject matter jurisdiction first? So take a Chinese criminal case and look at the first 2 pages. Like for us, the first 2 pages outline the subject matter jurisdiction. I saw such and such person at such and such residence address checking mail. Went down to the United States Post Office, such and such person uh, according to the postmaster, receives personal mail at such and such address. Such and such person, and the third one, such and such person has 2 motor vehicles registered at such and such address. Zip code, zip code, zip code. Zip code is zone improvement plan. Zip code is under the UPU. Zip code is territory above the land. Zip code is not the land. It's a perception of a contract tied to the DC, tied to the Vatican, tied to the UPU, all together, where you're contracted receiving personal mail. That's how they gain subject matter jurisdiction. Here's my point. It's always implied by the federal government that jurisdiction is automatic, that they have total autonomy and control over all of America. Then why do you need to prove you have jurisdiction on every single warrant, on every single indictment, and on every single lawsuit? If it's your total control and you're the sovereign, it's because you're the sovereign only in the District of Columbia and the people you've contracted with. I bet you it's the same for you. The difference is more people in that authority believe that they have autonomy over its people in China than they do over here. Like, I can call a cop to get his supervisor, and the supervisor will understand I'm private, not public, and to back off. I've seen it happen over and over. That's a big difference than fundamental China. Plus, China is now dressing everybody in white, and Puerto Rico is, and soon to be worldwide, in their white suits. These men and women who are being highly paid to come and inspect whether or not you have COVID, steal yourself, your life, your possessions, kill your dogs, kill your cats, and separate the kids from the family. It's literally what's going on. And so that's more accepted in China, and it will never be accepted in the States. It will slowly be in the bigger regions, but we had 1 million people walk away from New York, LA, Seattle, Miami, all the big cities in the last year. 1 million people left those cities. Why? Because that's how they're regionally, the technocracies are regionally going to go after, is the mayors and the governors, and try to control the regions instead of the whole nation. And so you will see a degree of broken up, and it'll be like hybrids, like kind of like Mad Max, if you will. There'll be areas that are completely destitute and operating rogue, and there's going to be Chazville within, Washington, D.C. And I'm saying all this because it's proof. It's absolute proof that we operate with whoever we want to allege ourselves to within these sub little corporations known as Seattle. And yeah, I want to wear a mask on every subway, and I want to be in my little 5 foot by 5 foot cubicle and sectional, and I want to sleep upright. And, oh yeah, I believe in Agenda 21 because it's better for us as a world, and so that we're not harming the entire world with our breath and our life and our, it's just sick. But I can't answer your questions. I guess the first question I would have for you, Joseph, is go pull an indictment and read the first 2 pages. Go pull a warrant, read the first 2 pages. I'm going to guess I'm right. You're going to see that they have to develop subject matter jurisdiction. And if that's the case, there's a lot we could do for you guys.